Hi everyone, in today's video we will be making this beautiful peplum. This is the Bloomsbury by Little Lizard King. I'll be sure to link that down below as always. And for this top I made the regular length, but there's also a crop length, so I love that it has that option. And I hope that you all enjoy this video, and if you do, be sure to subscribe, and let's get started. Okay, so to start, this is what I have printed out. Since this is the Bloomsbury pattern and it comes with a bunch of different options, I printed out the sleeved bodice with skirt. Don't mind my nails, my toddler decided to paint them. Anyways. So this is page 1 and 5. If you're wondering how to print out your pattern, just print out page 1 and 5 and then tape them together. And here is a sleeve. This is actually not the right size that goes with this. I don't know where my other one went, but they're not that size. And then what I like to do is write measurements for the neckband and the ruffle that we're going to attach to create the peplum. So I just have the measurements here. You'll find that in the cut chart of the pattern. I do like to take an inch off for the neckband because this pattern calls for binding, but we're going to do a neckband instead. So that's right here. That's my neckband. You cut 2 of the bodice pieces. So I have those 2 cut out right here. And then you'll have 2 sleeves, 1 sleeve, another sleeve, and then here's the ruffle pieces that I have cut out. So there's everything. The first thing that I like to do is start on my bodice. So I'm going to, these are already right sides together, but what you want to do is take the right side of the fabric, so like the pretty side, and place them right sides together. And the first thing we're going to do is sew right here and right here. The pattern calls for a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So we would just do that right here and right here, whether you're using a sewing machine or serger. There's that. Next, we're going to add our sleeves, or at least that's what I like to do. I do recommend getting some clips or something if you're not that comfortable with sleeves. So you can just clip them in place. But what we're going to do is open up our bodice like this and decide where we want, not where we want, it only goes in one place. We're going to fold our sleeve in half. Sorry, mine are cut a little wonky. And what you're going to do is line up the curve like this. So line it up right to the seam and place your clip. And then same thing with the bottom one. Place your clip, fold it in half. The curve goes this way. And then you just, I can't get over these nails. I don't have nail polish remover. Anyways, next we're going to line up our sleeves. So once we're sewing, so what I like to do is take, let me make sure you can see this. Okay, take the edge of the sleeve and line it up to this edge. So that's what I like to do. Or actually, let's take this side. And then we're just going to line it up. So as you're sewing, you're just going to line everything up like this. I like to keep the sleeve on top as I'm sewing, and then you're just going to work it, lining up the edges like this. See how it lines up perfectly? That's, it should, because it's the same size for this, right? So I'll go ahead and do that, and both sleeves, and I'll be back. Now that the sleeves are attached, here is what it looks like. Looks kind of crazy, but all you're going to do is put everything right sides together again like this. And now we're going to sew up the sides here and here. Make sure that when you're doing the sleeve, you line it or you straighten it out. So you can move it like this so it's not like weird when you're trying to sew it. Just straighten it out like this and just go up here, both sides, and then we'll do the neckband. Here's what it looks like so far, and next I'm going to do the neckband. So for this, I like to just fold it in half and sew here right at the edge where the raw edges are at. So don't sew the folded side, sew this like that. Now for neckbands, I always like to pin these or clip or whatever it is you have. So I just like to mark the center point, so there, and the center back. Since this looks pretty much the same in the front and the back, you can decide which one you want to be the front. I'll decide that this one is the front. So then you take your neckband and you want to also find the two center points like we did in the shirt. So one of them is going to be where your seam is at, and the other is going to be the opposite. Sorry, I totally got cut off earlier. I think my phone ran out of storage. But essentially, you're going to mark 4 points of your neckband and 4 points of your neck opening, and then you will have something that looks like this. So you'll clip everything at those 4 points, 4 equal points like this, and then when you go to sew, you'll notice that the band is a little smaller than the actual opening. So what you're going to do is slightly stretch the band to meet that opening. So now I'm going to go over to my sewing machine, or to my serger, and serge this on, and I will show you what that looks like. I haven't been showing you how I'm sewing everything else, just because I struggle because I don't have a tripod yet, but I will try and show you this part. Okay, so for neckbands, I like to do a 3/8 seam allowance, which just means I'm going to line it up to here. And I like to start with the seam in the back. So just the clip just right before that seam. So I like to lift up my presser foot. Again, sorry, I only have one hand. I need to invest in a tripod or something. Okay. And then again, we're just gonna line it up to this little edge. And once you get to your clip it off. And the only thing with neckbands is you want to make sure that everything is lining up and that you're only stretching the top. That's why I like to put my neckband inside so that I can start sewing and have the neckband up top. And that's pretty much it. You're just going to make sure that you're only stretching the top and everything is lining up. So I'll try and make it towards the end and then come back. I'm almost at the end and my start was a little wonky. Again, I only have one hand, so I'm struggling. All you're going to do is make sure that you're still stretching everything and meeting it up. And you're going to keep going up until here where everything starts lining up. So you see how everything got cut off? Next, I like to turn my hand wheel and then turn off the knife and keep going for about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch. Then I like to push everything towards the back and sew off. Then we just clip it, and you can finish your tail however you like, but I just like to pull on here and then make a little knot with these two threads. Here are the ruffles, and the first thing we're going to do is serge along the top. Or what you can do is do a basting stitch with your sewing machine. A basting stitch is essentially what you would use to gather. So there's different methods to gather with your sewing machine. So I would go on YouTube, look up how to gather with your sewing machine. But I'm going to gather with my serger. So I'll go ahead and show you what I do for that. So the first thing you want to do is just put your fabric in, make sure your knife is off and that it is right here, like that it's stopped right there. Next, you're going to take whatever settings you're on. These are my settings. And you're going to increase your needles by 2. So I was on around 4, I'm going to increase it to 6. Next, my differential, I'm going to make sure it's all the way up to 2. And we are just going to serge as normal right along the entire top of this ruffle. and you can see how it's gathering in the back, so do that to both ruffles. So now that we have both ruffles, all you're going to do is put them together. Make sure that they're facing the right way. Sorry if it's hard to see. Just make sure they're facing the right way and put them together like this. Just to kind of, because we're going to make sure that both meet up with the bottom of our top like this. So you can see they're a little smaller, which is nothing to worry about, because all you can do is pinch at either end like this, making sure I'm grabbing right at the edge, pinching there, grabbing right at the edge of this one, pinching there, and then we're just going to stretch it a little bit. You don't want to overdo it, or it doesn't have to meet up perfectly, because this is going to go inside it, so we do need a little wiggle room, meaning it is okay for it to be a little smaller. But you can see how I'm pulling and it's going. Okay, so now that's pretty much perfect. We just need a tiny bit of room on either end. And all I'm going to do is serge these now together. So both sides. I'm going to sew down here and down here. If you're using a serger, don't forget to go back to your normal settings and then turn your knife back on, everything like that. Okay, here is what that looks like. All I did was attach them together. So now what we're going to do is turn our top in right side out like this. And we're going to put it inside like this. And then we're going to clip at either end. Let me grab my clips. I like to just clip where I meet the seams, so seam to seam here. And then same thing with the other side, seam to seam. And then I just kind of check by putting my clips together if it's going to meet up, and it looks like it's going to fit just perfectly in there. So all we're going to do now is attach it, and I'll show you what I do, or how I do that. So again, back to our serger. Sorry if you're using a sewing machine, but all you are going to do now is attach the ruffle. So for this part, I like to turn my knife off. So again, make sure that it's right at the edge there. Turn it off. And then I'm going to increase my stitch width, which is this one right at the end, to a 7. Just go all the way. And what this is going to do is it's going to enclose our gathering stitches. So next, I like to place the piece, or the ruffle piece, on top, and we're just going to place it in there. Put our foot up. I'm going to try to make sure that everything is lined up in there. One-handed struggles again. Okay, just put it in there. And then, oops. Sorry, I don't know why this is so hard. Okay. And then I'm just going to keep going, and all you're going to do is push everything towards the knife as you're sewing. So I didn't quite catch the bottom of the top, but that's okay because I'm still trying to explain to you. What you're going to do is as you're sewing, you're just going to kind of shift it towards the knife. So just to make sure that these needles are going to hit past the gathering stitches, meaning they're going to hit over here, and that way they won't show up on the right side when you flip your top over. So again, just serge right over everything. As I'm reaching the end, I like to just clip off the serger tail that we started off with, and just keep going and go past about an inch. Here's what it looks like so far, and I forgot to mention to you all that I cut it at the peplum line, but you can also cut it at the crop line. So if you want this peplum to be a little more cropped, you could do that as well. So next, all that's left to do is to just hem the sleeves and hem the bottom of the skirt if you want to. With some fabrics you can leave it raw, especially with something like double brush poly or bullet, but it's all personal preference. I'm going to hem mine, and I'm going to hem my sleeves. You can use your sewing machine for this, but I'm going to use a Coverstitch. Okay, so here is the finished product. All I did was I went ahead and hemmed the sleeves, so this is what they look like, and I did hem the bottom. That's what that looks like. If you're interested in what or how to use a cover stitch, I do have a video on that, but that's what I used for the ends here of the sleeves and the bottom. So that's pretty much it for this top. I hope this video helped you all. If you have any further questions, be sure to let me know. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Bye bye!